are in Parashat Chayei, and we're going to learn from the teachings of Rabbenu Chayei. And in this parasha, a lot of interesting stories going on. The parasha is called the life of Sarah, even though the beginning of the parasha is the death of Sarah, and the rest of the parasha has nothing to do with Sarah, even though everything is connected to each other. The main theme, I would say, of this parasha is that Eliezer, the servant of Avraham Rabbenu, is going to find the wife of his son, Rivka, and the whole story, how he goes to look for her, and the miracle that happened to him, and the whole encounter that he has with the girl. And then there's a very interesting verse and a situation that happens in that encounter. Just imagine a messenger, an older man, comes in with a convoy, how do you say, a whole entourage, a convoy, yeah, coming with 10 camels full of gold and money and presents. And just imagine, this is the servant of Avraham Avinu. This is not some messenger of UPS. He's coming to get Rivka. And then he meets this little girl, she's 3 years old, and there's a whole conversation going on. Who are you? Where are you from? But it says a very interesting verse that it doesn't make sense on two levels. First of all, the actual sentence itself, which we're going to mention in a second, and besides that, in the conversation, how it counts in the context. Now, the verse can be found in our chapter, in our parasha, in chapter 22, and it says as follows: "Vayikach haish nezem zahav," and the man took a golden nose ring, beka mishkalo, weighing half a shekel, ushenei tzimidim, and 2 bracelets. Which, first of all, who cares what he took? And why is it coming into the text? And why specifically he took a nose ring that what's the weight of it is a shekel, and then 2 bracelets? Now why do you give a 3-year-old such a present? And how is that coming into the context? So let's see exactly what it says, and then what we can take from that. So Rabbenu Bachya asks a question, Ma haya tzarich leodienu hamishkal. Okay, I understand he gave her a present. I understand he has a conversation with a girl. Who cares about the weight of the nose ring? Say he gave her a nose ring. You're telling me beka mishkalo, that the weight was half a shekel? אבל רמז לך במתנות אלה שעתיד לצאת ממנה עם מקבלי התורה. The text is coming to tell you with these presents that Eliezer gave Rivka, it's a hint for us to know that from this woman will come out a nation that will receive the entire Torah. And why is that connected to the hint? Because it says sheyaviu shekalim, because the nation that received the Torah, they brought shekalim. Now, this is not shekels, what you have here in Israel, the currency. This is a weight. But nevertheless, when they were counted in the desert, then they were brought a machatzita shekel. Shekatuv, and it says in the Torah, beka la gulgolet, each one brought half a shekel. Gulgolet is a skull, but they were counted by their heads. But each one brought half a shekel. And beka is the weight of it. Beka, it's very interesting because it doesn't say a pound or a kilo. It says half a shekel. That's the weight. It's almost like me saying half a pound. Now, not only did they will receive the Torah, they will receive the 2 tablets. Shehem aseret hadibrot. That these are the 10 commandments, which interestingly he adds here, sheyesh bichlalam kuf ayin bet tevot. He's mentioning here that Aseret HaDibrot has 172 words. V'zeu shne tzimidim. So the 2 bracelets that he gave to her hand, that's a hint that we're going to get 2 tablets. Asara mishkalam, that their weight was 10, the weight was asara zahav, the weight of gold that is 10, hinting to the 10 commandments. Now he adds and he says, Ve'od ki lashon shekel umotrikon. The word shekel itself is an acronym. An acronym of what? Esh, kol, fire and sound. Why? Where do you see Esh and Kol? In the shekel, you have a Shin, you have a Kuf, and you have a Lamed. So Esh has a Shin in it, Kol has a Kuf and a Lamed. So it's an acronym of Esh and Kol. But what's Esh and Kol? Rem is the Matan Torah. This is a hint to the time of the giving of the Torah. Why is that connected? Where do we see a connection? Because it says, it can be found in the book of Dvarim, that it says, Min hashamayim hishmi'acha et kolo, leyasreka, ve'al haaretz ha'archa et isho hagedola. Translation, this can be found in the book of Dvarim, chapter 4, verse 36. From the heavens he let you hear his voice to instruct you. So this is the voice, the call. And upon the earth he showed you his great fire. And this is the Esh and the Kol, the acronym of Shekel. This is a hint for Matan Torah. ומזה יש לך להתבונן בדבר המן הרשע. Now he takes us almost 1,000 years forward to what happened with Haman HaRasha. I know it sounds far off. Purim is around the corner. Why? What is the connection with Haman HaRasha? That Haman HaRasha said, "Va'aseret alafim kikar kesef eshkol al yadei oseh melacha." Haman HaRasha took a bribe, and the bribe was 10,000 shekels. Interestingly, he says that the amount was aseret alafim, 10,000. Kikar was the size of it, and kesef, and I will weigh it. Why? כי כוונתו הרעה להשמיד שונאי ישראל, because Haman wanted to destroy us. So how did he want to destroy us? He wanted to destroy us with a certain curse. But it says here that Eliezer gave her a bracelet that weighed asara zahav. This is to nullify the curse and the decree of Haman HaRasha, and to destroy Sonei Israel, the ones who are against the nation of Israel, ולבטל בעשרה שלו, עשרה שניתנו על ידי האש והכל. Haman HaRasha says, how am I going to destroy them? It was only a spiritual war. It wasn't like Hitler Yimach Shemo that wanted to gas them. Haman HaRasha says, I'm going to put a curse on them, exactly like Bilam. How am I going to do that? They got the 10 commandments with a sound and fire. And again, the sound and fire, because Hashem spoke to them. So it says that they saw the sounds. But there was constantly the concept of call, of the voice. As it says that Hashem spoke to them, they couldn't bear the intensity of the voice. And then the show was around fire. וזהו שרמז כאן בתפילה, אנוכי בדרך נחני השם. Here, Eliezer, on the way to get Rivka, he prayed to the Kadosh Baruch Hu and says, Hashem, maybe you can make a big miracle to me that I can find her. And Hashem did a huge miracle. And when he came to say to Lavan what was the story, he came to the house of Rivka and he started telling them the story. What does he says? Anochi baderech nachani Hashem. Hashem led me here. You can't believe, can you imagine this old man coming in outside, there's a line of Mercedeses. In their time was camels loaded with gold. And he's coming in, and Lavan is looking at what's going on here. They're coming to buy my sister. And the whole household is looking, and he's telling them, don't ask. I came here, and I'm praying to the Master of the universe, and I told him to do me a miracle, and what do you know? This girl comes out. Why? כי זכות התורה היא אנוכי שעתידין בניה לקבל. Eliezer didn't say that to them, but he knew that in the merit of her kids, or offsprings, her generations, that they will see the Torah. In the merit of the Torah, he received such a miracle. And therefore, הייתה עמו בהצלחת הדרך. So with the success on the journey. And Eliezer twice said the whole story. If you're reading the parasha, it's very kind of interesting. Why is he saying the whole story twice? Twice he's saying the story, but the theme and the focus on what he's saying, that there was success on the journey. Now, he continues and says, והנה כל המאורות האלה לרבקה, הכל סימן לבניה. All that was going on around here to Rivka was a siman, was a sign for the rest of the generations. Saying in other words, there's always going to be along the way signs that you know that you're going in the right path. How many times the person's asked himself, how do I know I'm going on the right path? Maybe I'm not going on the right path. Maybe I'm wasting my time. It can be in a business deal, a business venture. It can be in a shidduch, in a date. And how do you know you're going on the right path? Now this is in the personal level. How do we know right now, moments before Mashiach is coming? You tell people, Mashiach is coming. We heard that already. Just today I had a conversation with somebody on the street, and I said to him, we were talking about everything that's going on. And I told him, listen, it's all good news, because it means Mashiach is coming. It has to be very, very soon, because we see that the stages, it's kind of like closing in. It's a matter of, it can be days, weeks, months. It won't sustain long. Once the whole bubble explodes, Mashiach has to come. If not, I can't fathom, if Mashiach doesn't come, how this world is going to look. And a lot of people question, but how do you know? Because we have a siman, we have signs, we have prophecies, we have text. You go through the text, you have so many signs when Mashiach is coming. It doesn't say a date. It doesn't say anywhere a date. But if you open the Talmud, Tractate Sotah, the last page, it tells you want to know how it's going to look before Mashiach is going to come? Open the last page in Tractate Sotah. It says to you, it's like reading the newspaper. There's going to be high inflation, Yoker HaMichya, everything will be expensive. Chutzpah Yisge, there's going to be, the whole generation is going to be fresh and arrogant. And it tells you exactly what's going to happen. Pnei Ador ke Pnei HaKelev, the entire generation is going to be like a face of a dog. Another thing, So anyways, it's and this is just one tractate. To go to Tractate Sanhedrin, pages 97, 98, 90, 99, talking about Gog and Magog, it's telling you. So there's so many books and signs and prophecies that are telling you how it's going to look before the redemption comes, that you have signs. And it's important to know, because we are literally moments before Mashiach is coming. And again, it can be days, it can be weeks, maybe months. I doubt it's going to be in the matter of years. And if yes, maybe a year or two. But we have signs. We know, we follow signs. And again, a lot of people say, listen, you're not allowed to calculate when Mashiach is coming. We're not calculating anything. We're just looking at the text, and we're opening the books, and we're kind of looking for signs. Besides the fact that already the Malbim said already that 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, when this quote was said in the Talmud, because the redemption was very far away. Now that we're close to the redemption, you're allowed to calculate. And the parable that the Malbim uses, of course, it's modernized now in the parable that I'm going to tell you, but it's almost like me now going out for a road trip with my family, and we leave our origin, and the destination is 3 hours away. Let's say the destination is Yerushalayim. So after 5 minutes, my kids tell me, when are we there? When are we there? We just left. Sit back and relax. 10 minutes later, when are we there? Stop asking me when are we there. We just left. 15 minutes later, when are we there? Whoa, we still have 3 hours. We just left on the journey. 5 minutes before we enter our destination, when are we there? In 5 minutes. So why now I can tell them we're there in 5 minutes in the beginning? No, because in the beginning of the journey, we still have the whole journey in front of us. When we're moments before the destination, you can say, yeah, we're there in a few minutes. Same thing with the redemption. That's what the Malbim explains. 2,000 years ago, when it was time to calculate, why are you calculating? We just left to exile. You have time. Now that we're moments before, you're allowed to look in the text and look for signs. But why am I saying that? Let me repeat the verse. All these events that were around the time that Eliezer went to get Rivka, hakol siman lebanea. It was all signs to her kids. Which, of course, Rivka in the next parasha we're going to read, she had two kids, and from one of them, from Yaakov, comes out the whole nation. והמקרים שהראו לעבד, now Rivka experienced events. Now also the servant of Avraham had all sorts of events. המאורים שהראו לעבד בהצלחת הדרך, mainly that he was successful on his path. דוגמת המקרים שהראו לבניה בדרך המדבר. Whatever was done to Rivka, she got a nose ring, she got the bracelets, whatever is around it, that's a siman, a sign for the kids, for her seed, for her offsprings. To know that, don't worry, you're going to be standing in Matan Torah, you will be receiving the 10 Commandments, it will come in 2 tablets, don't worry. That's a promise. Everything that happened to the servant, what's his theme? the journey. Everything that happened to the servant was a hint of what's going to happen to us when we walk in the desert. כשם שהיה מלאך עמו בדרך, the same way that there was an angel escorting him. How do we know he had an angel? מכוח תפילתו. Because he prayed, and Avraham Avinu prayed for him. תפילתו של אברהם אבינו שאמר, הוא ישלח מלאכו לפניך. Eliezer was praying, but Avraham Avinu also says, don't worry, you'll be successful. I'm sending you, Hashem will send you an angel to escort you. מצינו בניה בדרך המדבר. When do we find the same thing, that an angel escorts them on the journey? And we found that when they left the Mitzrayim, and they left in the desert. You can find Parashat Shmot, page chapter 23. הנה אנוכי שולח מלאך לפניך. Here I will send an angel to walk in front of you. ולפי שהיה המלאך המיוחד שבנפרדים לכך, since he had a specific angel that went in front of him, אמר מלאכו, the angel that was going in front of Eliezer, והוא השר האחד הנאצל ממידתו של אברהם. What's the angel that was going in front of Eliezer? Was the angel of Chesed, which is Malach Michael, who went in front of Eliezer. Avraham Avinu told you, you have nothing to worry about. I'm sending with your angel. And it says in the book of Shmot, Ki yilech malachi Avraham, the angel of Avraham, walk in front of you. So we know there are many types of angels. This is the angel of Avraham. This is called Malach HaChesed, the angel of kindness. Kara'o bekan malacho. Here the Kadosh Baruch Hu will say it's his angels. Va'kadosh Baruch Hu kara'o malachi. In the time of Eliezer, it says Malacho, the angel of Avraham, and in the time in the desert, it says Malachi, my angel. Keshem shalu hamayim likrata, the same way that the water, when Rivka came to take water for the camels, all the water came up from the well. She didn't have to work hard. After all, she's a little girl. The same way, Ken bevanea b'derech hamidbar. The same way, so the water came up towards the nation of Israel when they went in the desert. As it says in the book of Bamidbar, you can find it in chapter 21, verse 17, Ali be'er enula. As it says, ascend, O well, sing to it. The bear of Miriam came and the water just came up. They didn't have to work hard. והעבד שנתן לה המתנות, and the servant Eliezer gave her presents, רמז בהן כי כשם שקיבלה היא המתנות, the same way that she's receiving the presents, על ידי העבד, by the servants, כן בניה עתידים לקבל את התורה. He told her, don't worry, your kids were going to receive the Torah. How? על ידי משה, by Moshe Rabbenu. Why? Because he was a servant of the master of the universe. וכשם שנתן לה מתנות רבות, and more than that, he gave her a lot of presents, מקצתם בדרך ומקצתם בבית. First he gave her when he saw her. Then he gave her more presents when they went to the home. Then he gave her more presents as the journey. Constantly was giving her presents. It was like Hanukkah. Every day another present. It wasn't Hanukkah, but it was like Hanukkah. Anyways, היו נזם זהב בקע משקלו. First he gave her the nose ring that was the weight of it was half a shekel. Then he gave her the 2 bracelets. 10 זהב משקלם. The weight was 10 זהב. כן בניה במדבר הביאו שקלים. Corresponding to that, the nation of Israel in the midbar, in the desert, they bought shekalim, a half a shekel, to be counted. And what did they get as a response? שני לוחות הברית, the 2 tablets. שבהם 10 הדיברות. They got 10 commandments. So there you have the 2 bracelets, 2 tablets. 10 is the weight of the bracelets, 10 commandments. וכשם שנתן לה מתנות בבית, not only that, he gave her more presents at home. גם כן מלבד אותם שנתן לה בדרך, he gave her presents there on their way in the home. How do we know that he gave her more presents? I mean, you can't just come and invent things. It says in the Torah, ויוצא העבד כלי כסף וכלי זהב. It's like as if every couple miles he pulled out another thing. Here's another thing. Anyways, he inherited everything. So probably Avraham Avinu told her, no, קח a few. Take 10 camels, start giving her some presents. But everything that happened to Rivka is happening to Bnei Israel. כן בניה בארץ מואב, the same thing with the nation of Israel in the land of Moab. סמוך לביאתם לארץ, right before they came into the land of Israel, ניתנו להם מצוות רבות. Right before they went into the land of Israel, suddenly they got tons of mitzvot. וכעניין שכתוב, as it says in the book of Devarim, chapter 28, אלה דברי הברית אשר ציווה השם את משה, these are the words of the covenant that Hashem gave to Moshe, לכרות את בני ישראל, to put them in the covenant, where? בארץ מואב. So in the land of Moab, right before they went into Eretz Israel, they got a lot of presents. She was on the journey, she was about to go to the house of Yitzchak, she got a lot of presents. We also got a lot of presents. Just that the presents, we got our mitzvot. Some people look at the mitzvot as a burden. The mitzvot is presents. It's like jewels. ומזה דרשו רז"ל, מגילה ניתנה. Our sages explained that when he gave her presents, like as if he was giving her a Megillah, a note, and another note, and another note. וכשם שנכפלה הפרשה, now it can be more clear why Eliezer had to say it twice. If you read in the parasha, it doesn't make sense. Why is he telling the story twice? He already told the whole story. כשם שנכפלה הפרשה, the same way that this whole affair was said twice, וחזר העבר לספר הדברים, and he said it again and again. כן, בניה קיבלו התורה לוחות ראשונות. So first time that he said it corresponds to the first set of tablets. Second time he said it, then they got the second set of tablets. So we see that the Eved, that the servant, already in his Ruach HaKodesh, he already knew there's going to be two sets of tablets. So he said one time the first time, the story, and then he repeated it. ומשה עבד השם במשנה תורה חזר לספר בעבר הירדן, כן הדברים שהיו להם בלוחות הראשונות. And Moshe Rabbenu also repeated again before they passed into the Jordan. He repeated, if you remember, this kind of like a repetition in Parashat Dvarim. And Moshe Rabbenu was repeating again all the story. והעניינים האלה שנרמזו בנישואי יצחק ורבקה, and all this is about the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka, שהולידו את יעקב. They brought to the world Yaakov, and then Yaakov brought his boys, the tribes, אשר יצאו מהם עם מקבלי התורה, that from them came a nation that received the Torah. נרמז כל זה בשליחות העבד, all this is hinted in the emissary of the slave or the servant, למעלת האבות. Why? Because they had such a high level, the forefathers, that in their merit, he received it. So now he's clarifying why this verse was so important, because every time that we go one step forward, there's always a sign what's going to come later. And why? Because if we wouldn't have that sign, then what hope can we hold on? Can you imagine how many times in history the nation of Israel were in the time in despair, and if they wouldn't have hope to hold on, then what would they hold on? What would they have to believe in? What will keep them alive? Just imagine how many times in the last 3,000 years the entire nation were in places, in times of despair and times of frustration, and there was always some type of hope. At the time of Egypt, they were 210 years slaves. What kept them alive? That they said, don't worry, we're going to get out of here. We have a prophecy. It was told to Avraham Avinu, and we're going to get out of here. And every time on the way, there was always some type of a prophecy or a sign that gave the nation of Israel hope. Even when they went out of Yerushalayim from the first destruction of the first temple, the prophet told them, don't worry, you're only going to 70 years. Yeah, you're going to. It's defined, but you're going to 70 years. And sure enough, 70 years later, they came back to Yerushalayim, built the second temple. So there are always simanim on the way. So first of all, just to conclude, he's clarifying why the Torah went out of its way to tell us the entire story, the way, to everything. Why? So we can have a sign. When it comes to whatever happened to Rivka, that's a sign for her kids. Whatever happened to Eliezer, the servant, that's the sign of what's going to happen in the desert. But more than that, everything the Torah teaches us, even though it's telling us an event that happened over 3,000 years ago, but the Torah doesn't matter what part you read in it, it always hints to what's going on in our times. So now you have an entire world that it literally, you can say, is upside down. The entire world is going cuckoo. This is the least to say. And, many people, they live still in some type of dream. Don't worry, everything will be okay. Trump will save us. Biden will save us. Neither one is going to make any difference. But even with that, this is just for one country. You can see in most countries, all countries actually, there's no stability. There's no security, there's no stability. Economies are crashing. The whole world is going crazy. This is Hashem knocking on the door of the entire planet and saying, something is about to happen, wake up. Now when it happens just to personally me, sometimes Hashem is knocking on my door to wake me up. Listen, wake up. Can be coming with a financial crisis, can be coming with a sickness, can coming in many different ways. Hashem says, listen, before I'm gonna knock you down, I'm gonna give you a few warnings. We just read 3 weeks ago with Noah. Hashem says, listen, I'm going to destroy the world. 120 years, he gave them Noah to show them, there's going to be a flood, there's going to be a flood. A lot of warnings. So when it's personal, then Hashem is giving me signs. You have to sometimes know how to read between the lines. When it happens on a family, it's a sign for the family. It can happen for a family, a city, a congregation. Now we got to a point that Hashem is knocking on the door of the entire world. There's not one country in the world that is not affected by what's going on right now. You can't say, oh, it's just hitting this country. All the countries in the world. Now you can interpret it in many different ways. How I want to explain it right now is the Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling the entire planet, I'm about to bring a huge change on the entire world. I'm going to show you that there's going to be a change that nobody can, if they're not prepared for it, will be able to digest such a thing. When we left out of Mitzrayim, it was just for us, our nation, and the nation of Egypt. Even though the rest of the nation saw what's going on, they didn't have Fox and CNN, but they still had their fake news at their time saying what's going on. And everybody knew what's going on. Same thing now. Now the entire planet is under, I wouldn't even call it a threat, I would call it a warning. That Hashem is telling us human beings, get your act together because there's no going back. We're not going back to how it was a year ago, 10 years ago. We're going into the redemption. Now in order to have a redemption, it cannot be a kingdom of Hashem in this world if there's governments. And there cannot be Bet HaMikdash and serving Hashem if there's going to be currencies. And there cannot be any type of a mamlacha, a government or a regime that is controlling the world, which is Malchut Bet David, the kingdom of the house of David, which will be of course by Melech HaMashiach. But nevertheless, Melech HaMashiach is just a tool to prepare everything. Then Hashem is going to come, and that day Hashem's name is going to be one. So Hashem is preparing now the world before the blow comes. Now how do we know that, and what is it referring to here? Because there's always going to be signs. Kadosh Baruch Hu is not going to come and surprise you. He's going to give you signs. So when it's personal into your life, you have to see things. When things don't work out in your life, there's a sign. Sometimes you get signs in your life. A person is going out, trying to make a business, trying to find a wife, trying to do something. If there's too many blocks or something, then you have to open your eyes. Now a lot of times, a lot of people don't know how to interpret the signs. Or sometimes people become so OCD, they think everything is a sign. What does that mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? Once I gave a lecture about that, everything that happens has a meaning to that. Oh, the next day I got 5,000 emails. Don't ask. I saw a cat, and the cat looked at me. And then it moved its head and looked at me back again. What does it mean? What is the cat telling me? Well, the cat is telling you that it's telling you there's nothing. It's a cat. But you have to become OCD now on everything that moves. I saw 2 birds. One was flying there. Come on. This is not what I'm talking about, but things happen in your life, and many of them is a sign from the Kadosh Baruch Hu for you to wake up. Now it's on a global level. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu is now telling the entire globe, the entire planet, listen, something big is going to happen. Get your act together, wake up. Jews, non-Jews, it's irrelevant. The nation of Israel, all the nations, the redemption is for all the nations, not only for the Jews. And what's going on right now in the world, first of all, if you're really looking at the last 100 years, what's going on right now, never been such a thing. And it's going to become worse and worse and worse. Don't think for 1 second that the elections in America is going to affect the world. Of course it's going to affect the world, because either way you're looking at it, when America goes down, everything goes down with it. And everything is going to fall like a pile of cards. How do you call the house of cards? You take one card down, everything will start crumbling down. Which is not something to be stressing over, rather to be very happy, because in order for Mashiach to come, we cannot have any other governments. It's going to be one kingdom, one malchut, one government. So you can look at it in the negative aspect of it, saying a new world order, a one government. Yeah, you're right. It is going to be a new world order. The new world of Mashiach with one order, the Torah. one government. Yeah, it's going to be a Sanhedrin. We're not going to have all the rest of the stuff. But what we need to take from that is, first of all, when there's signs along the way, we have to know how to read the signs. Before there was a flood with Noach, then Noach came for 120 years and says, listen, there's going to be a flood. There's too much immorality, there's too much promiscuity, and too much disgusting behavior, and robbery, and gezel, and Hamas, and there's going to be a reaction here. So Hashem is sending us not one sign, He's sending us 50 signs, telling, listen, there's going to be a level, how much I'm willing to tolerate what's going on here. We just read last week with the city of Sdom. Hashem says this, I'm going to give you a warning, and another warning, and another warning. So here He comes and tells us that the Torah is giving us signs to us to know for, then we have to read the signs. And many people still have these thoughts, no, Trump is going to make America great again. He's not going to make anything great again. Whether he gets elected or not, it's irrelevant. Because now the time of the entire planet is done. Kadosh Baruch Hu is already giving us all the signs. That's it. Pack your bags and get ready for the redemption. If you're on board, you'll be part of the redemption. You're not on board, then there's going to be a huge destruction. It cannot be a new reality of the redemption without the destruction of the old reality. There's no such a thing. It's not going to overlap. It's going to you have to destroy one reality in order to go to the next reality. So when we're looking at Eliezer is Eved Avraham, the servant of Avraham. So we are the servants of Hashem. And when I go up on a journey, then Hashem says, don't worry, I will send you my angel to protect you. A lot of people are stressing out. They're falling into fear, despair. You have nothing to worry about. Be a servant of the Master of the universe. Then Hashem will send you His angel in front of you to protect you. So one of the main messages we can take from that when I'm a messenger, you know, it says the shliach mitzvah lo nizok. A person who goes is the shaliach, the messenger, the emissary, but he's going to do a mitzvah, then nothing's going to happen to him. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If somebody travels, you give him $1, $2 here, you'll be a shliach mitzvah. Why? So I'm appointing you now to take this dollar and give it to charity on the other side, to your destination. Why? Because our sages said in the Talmud, the shliach mitzvah lo nizok. A person who goes to do a mitzvah, or he's a messenger to do a mitzvah, then nothing's going to happen to him on the way. So we have to understand that we're messengers of Hashem. You can't be cocooning yourself in fear. You have to be a messenger of the Kadosh Baruch Hu to say, yeah, the redemption is coming. And nothing to be afraid to say it out loud. Other people are afraid. Maybe I'm going to be judged. I'm going to say the truth. You know, the majority of people, they know and they realize the truth. They just don't want to say it. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to be attacked. They don't want to be oppressed. They don't want to be segregated. But speak up. Can't be quiet. Because when Hashem tells you, I need you to be my messenger, I need you to be my servant, then don't worry, you have nothing to fear. So we want to take this message that in this parasha, how Eliezer is going on his mission to come to bring Rivka and the birth of an entire nation and so forth. But the main message, what Eliezer is telling us, have faith. You know, when Eliezer went out on the journey, he said a prayer. Hashem, maybe you can make me successful. And Hashem made him very successful. So we have to understand that our power is our mouth. We have to pray. We can change decrees and we can change the reality. And more than that, to have faith in the Master of the universe, that whatever he does for the best. But the most important thing to remember is that I have to be a servant of Hashem. The same way that Eliezer was successful being the servant of Avraham, and he went and waved the name of Avraham. If not, he would probably get killed. Most likely with Lavan and his gang, they would kill him to take all the money. All he needed to say is, I'm the servant of Avraham. This is like saying, I work for Capone. Ah, okay, I'm sorry. Untouchable. So he waved everywhere that he went. He said, I'm the servant of Avraham. Because really it says in the Midrash that Lavan did want to kill. They wanted to kill him. I mean, it says in the pretty clear that they came to poison him. They wanted to kill him. Why should we listen to this guy? Let's kill him. Oh, in the street language, let's whack him, burying him in the wall in some cement. Take all the camels with all the gold. 10 camels were loaded with gold and diamonds and rubies, and Avraham Avinu was a billionaire. So he wanted to give an edunya already. He wanted to give here. You're getting something. This is just ala cheshbon, just on the account. But Lavan saw this. Okay, let's get rid of this guy. So they wanted to kill Eliezer. And of course, they put poison. The story says they put poison in his cup. The angel came, moved the cup. Betuel drank it. But the point is, Shliach mitzvah eno nizog. You are a messenger of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Nothing to worry about. You going in the name of Hashem, b'shem Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. In the name of Hashem, I will do and be successful. If you're doing it for your own good, if you're doing it for your own ego, for your own success, for whatever it is, that's not an Eved Hashem. So when I want to be successful in what I do, then I have to become a servant of Hashem and go in the name of Hashem. Not to come and say, oh, I'm doing it for my greater good, or to my name. It's all for the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now when you become a Eved Hashem, then Hashem says, what did we read? Ki yilech malachi lifanecha. My angel will go in front of you. So now, especially now, moments before the time is completely up, everybody has to wake up, and you see that many people are waking up. But the problem is that so many people are waking up, they're smelling something's going on, they know something big is about to happen, but people are afraid to talk. People are afraid, no, listen, I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want to this and that. No. And now the world is about what you saw up to now. This is nothing compared to what's waiting for us. Just let's see in the next 3 months what's going to happen now in the United States. And when the United States is shaking, it's going to shake the entire world. Besides the fact that I said it not once and not twice, there's prophecies, there's clear signs that that's it, America is done. It's time. The great United States of the great America is over, closing shop. Why? Because Mashiach has to come. That's it, Mamlechet Edom, the kingdom of Edom, has to cease to exist. And of course, that will come a lot of turbulence. And a lot of people are finding fear and worry and anxiety, what's going to happen. There's nothing to fear, but the Kadosh Baruch Hu. As it says, "Mi shemfached me'echad, lo mfached me'af echad." It says in Chufat Halvavot, in the duty of the heart. But Rabbenu Chayei, whoever is afraid of one is not afraid of anyone. If you are afraid of the Master of the universe, you have nothing to be afraid of. You have to be afraid of Hashem. So we have to understand that we're going in the name of Hashem, like Eliezer that goes in the name of Avraham. He was successful. Now this is, even in your private life, everything that you do, it has to be L'Shem Shamayim. Whether it's business, dating, kids, anything. You have to go in the name of Hashem. When you're doing it 100% in the name of Hashem, you will be successful in everything that you do. And then you'll see the blessing exactly like Rivka saw a blessing, then you see a blessing in your life. In B'ezrat Hashem, we should see the ultimate blessing that we see after so many thousands of years of exile, and finally we should see the final blessing, that we should see the coming of Mashiach. And the building of Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi should happen very soon in our days, in the most pleasant way, in the most calm way, full of love and kindness, and without any problems. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should see it very soon in our days.